For a fourth of a century, I was a noteworthy piece of the moderate development. In any case, in the same way as other on the right, in the wake of Donald Trump's triumph I needed to pose some awkward inquiries. The 2016 presidential battle was a merciless, frustrating drudge, and there came a minute when I understood that moderates had made another reality bubble, one that I had helped shape. Amid the 2016 decision, preservationists turned on the rule that had once enlivened them. By one means or another, a development in light of genuine thoughts, for example, financial flexibility and restricted government, had lapsed into a tribe that esteemed neither standard nor truth. Illuminating presences, for example, Edmund, Burke and William F. Buckley Jr. had been supplanted by media jokesters, for example, and Coulter and Milo Yiannopoulos. Symbols, for example, Ronald Reagan, with his confidence and friendliness, had been supplanted by the dull, sporadic narcissism of Donald Trump. Gradualism, aptitude and judiciousness, the qualities that used to be underestimated among preservationists, were supplanted by surveys and appraisal spikes, as the privilege permitted liberal overextend in the Obama time to daze them to the nutcases and dogmatists in their middle. Some have contended that the race was a parallel decision, that Hillary Clinton must be vanquished by any methods. I share a considerable lot of their worries about Clinton, however the cost was ruinous. The privilege's constituent triumph has not wiped away its transgressions. It has amplified them, and the issues that were uncovered amid the 2016 battle haven't vanished. Achievement does not really suggest temperance or rational soundness. Lords can be both distraught and awful, and the subjects are generally hesitant to call attention to the self-evident. Simply take a gander at Caligula or Kim Jong-un. Today, with Trump in office, the issues of the privilege are the issues of all Americans. Also, the most noticeably awful piece of it is that we, preservationists, did this to ourselves. Donald Trump is the president we merit. Off the wall. Sometime in the past we merited better. Furthermore, had it as well. On June 12, 1987, President Reagan was in West Berlin to convey a capable message to the detestable domain, the USSR. His Soviet partner, Mikhail Gorbachev, had marked himself as an amiable peacemaker, and Reagan needed him to demonstrate it. Over 2 decades sooner, East German communists had raised the Berlin Wall to shield deserters from escaping the eastern piece of the city, and the boundary remained, physically and emblematically partitioning the two sides. With 2 sheets of impenetrable glass isolating him from a horde of around 20,000, Reagan remained with East Berlin's Brandenburg Gate behind him and articulated the words that have come to characterize some portion of the enormity of his administration. In the event that you look for peace, Reagan stated, come here, to this entryway. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this divider. The discourse was vintage Reagan. His words championed flexibility and solidarity, private enterprise and quality. He considered America to be a sparkling city upon a slope, as he placed it in a later discourse, an exuberant portrayal that caught the wellspring of his prevalence. Furthermore, however, he represented quite a bit of what preservationists adored about America, our energy, coarseness and assurance. Reaganism was constantly about the nation, not the man. He was our leader, not our dear pioneer. Right around 3 decades after Reagan's discourse in Berlin, Trump conveyed an altogether different message in Manhattan. On June 16, 2015, he made a sensational passageway at Trump Tower, diving into the anteroom on a lift to the hints of Neil Young's Rockin' in the Free World. And with the cameras rolling, the unscripted television star reported he was running for president. The nation was stuck in an unfortunate situation, he stated, to a limited extent, since Mexicans are sneaking over the outskirt. They're bringing drugs, he growled. They're bringing wrongdoing. They're attackers. There was just a single arrangement, Trump clarified. I will fabricate an incredible, extraordinary divider on our southern fringe. Also, I will have Mexico pay for the divider. Stamp my words. With outrage and bluster, Trump had proclaimed war against Reaganism. The Gipper had been ace migration as well, and a few people cherished the reckless new possibility for it. This move overwhelmed numerous In the 1980s, after Reagan turned into the substance of the right, moderates appeared like an assembled, solid power, particularly to liberals who never truly tuned into what we needed to state. In all actuality, we have for quite some time been a muddle, a petulant gathering of divergent, regularly irascible groups, libertarians, evangelicals, traditionalists, assembly of business sorts. As far back as the 1950s, there have been profound gaps in the development. We called ourselves preservationist, however bolstered the inventive obliteration of free enterprise. We championed restricted government, yet in addition conventionalist teams. We were the gathering of flexibility, yet in addition national security, lawfulness. In the course of recent years, preservationist pioneers had looked to weave together those ideological strands. It hasn't generally been simple. In the 1960s, Buckley, the moderate writer and originator of the National Review, went to war with both the far-right libertarian essayist Ayn Rand and the outrageous hostile to communist screwballs at the John Birch Society. Those divisions and others persisted into the Richard Nixon period in the 1970s. It wasn't until the point at the mid-1980s that Reagan figured out how to control these inconsistencies with a blend of magnetism and capable administration. Trump, be that as it may, abused such divisions for his own particular pickup. He took advantage of something exasperating that we had disregarded and maybe supported, a move from flexibility to tyranny, from American exceptionalism to nativism and xenophobia. From his hardline on migration and rejoinder of facilitated commerce to his weird interest with Russian President Vladimir Putin, Trump spoke to a sensational disavowal of the qualities that had once characterized the development. On the off chance that Reagan were alive, he would barely perceive his gathering, or the dividers it had raised. In the middle of Reagan and Trump, there were indications of profound brokenness in the traditionalist positions, minutes when the privilege appeared nearly losing it, from upheavals of hostile Semitism amid Pat Buchanan's impossible surge in 1992 to Sarah Palin's humiliating power to the GOP ticket in 2008. In any case, the genuine defining moment accompanied the decision of Barack Obama and the ascent of the Tea Party. While a considerable lot of its discontents can be followed to the Bush years, Medicare Part D, changes to migration arrangement and the huge bank bailouts, the Tea Party did not pick up footing until after Obama's triumph. The planning power doubt that the development had more to do with the new president's race, and gathering connection, than his arrangements. Yet the beginning of the Tea Party challenged simple classification. Regardless of the exaggerations and rehashed endeavors by the left to depict them as risky or narrow-minded, Tea Party revitalizers were by and large organized occasions, and uncommonly differing. As the essayist John Avlon placed it in his book Wingnuts, Extremism in the Age of Obama, participants at a commonplace rally included libertarians, traditionalists, free advertisers, white-collar classicist dissidents, the more energetic than thou swarm, moderate stun muscleheads, college kids, suit-and-tie Buckleyites and more than several essential occupants of Crazy Town. The Tea Party soon turned into the substance of the preservationist development, starting up a base that had been crushed and crippled. As Avlon noticed, the development denoted a forceful move in strategies, as a few moderates chose to copy the angry road theater of the far left they had invested decades scorning. Affability was the principal ascertained loss. At encourages, signs contrasting Obama with Hitler started flying up, as they had on the left with George W. Hedge, while writing showed up spearing Obama's Nazi well-being design. Legitimate worries over apportioning medicinal services transformed into overheated talk about death boards. All of this was significantly quickened by the ascent of a never-ending shock machine that included trick packs and even the revered Heritage Foundation, pushing the GOP into progressively outrageous and untenable positions, which at last prompted a vain government shutdown. Maybe a couple on the privilege pushed back against these overabundances. In this condition, Avlon noted, there are no adversaries on the privilege and no such thing as excessively extraordinary. The more preposterous the announcement, the more it will be cheered. Even after Representative Joe Wilson was reprimanded for shouting "You lie" at Obama amid a discourse on human services in 2009, Numerous on the privilege hailed the South Carolina Republican as a legend.